Hello, and welcome back to Nerd News. Today we have new controller information from both Sony and Microsoft. And Harley Quinn has been trending on Twitter for the past couple of days, and news is slow, and that seems like a fun conversation to have, so let's get started. First up, we have the DualSense Edge controller from Sony. It'll retail for $200, and it comes out in January 26th. I'm going to be honest, I don't see a point to this. You can also buy the sticks, the actual sticks for $20. Who needs this? Like, this looks exactly like a regular DualShock controller, or DualSense controller, but with interchangeable sticks. I know it has the back trigger buttons, but like, an extra $100 for some back triggers. I'm sure it's a more quality controller overall. I don't know. I just don't see a reason for this. This seems a little ridiculous. I know Microsoft does something similar, and a little bit biased here. I kind of like the Microsoft controller, the Pro controller better, or whatever they call it, Elite controller better. But this just seems way too much like the PS5's base controller, but with interchangeable sticks and some back buttons. I'm not really seeing the reason to pay $200 for this, although controllers are already $100. Basically, it's like $70 or $80 for a controller. So, I mean, maybe like if it has a longer battery life, I might be willing to spend $200 for this controller. Like, if they could like double the battery life on this thing, I'd probably buy it. And keeping with controller news, Microsoft has also announced that they will now they will now be doing Xbox Design Lab with the Elite Series 2 controller. And I know I just said I don't like the PlayStation's $200 DualSense Edge controller, and I stand by that, but I don't particularly like this either. However, being able to make your own controller is really cool. Like, being able to custom color and design it yourself, that's really cool. Also, I think these are like $180. It's only like a $20 difference, but it's slightly cheaper, I guess. I still have the same problems with this one. I don't see a reason for this. 80% of the things that you get with it, it's just the same controller. I don't really see a reason to purchase this. However, I do like that they are now allowing you to make your own controller, because I think that's really cool. It's kind of like building your own Nikes online. Like, it's not necessary, but it's fun, and I like doing it. I haven't actually bought one of these controllers because they're expensive, but for $80 you can build the regular controller too and customize it however you want. So it's just a cool idea. I think it's neat. I'm a little bit more okay with this one just because you can customize this. Obviously they've had the Elite controllers for a while, so this is new. But I was against the Elite controller too. I do like the Xbox controller a little bit better though. At least the one. Series X is the same controller, whatever. I do like the Xbox One controller much more than any PlayStation controller, really. I wish I had a reason to actually play my Xbox once in a while. And another update on the Bayonetta story. Jason Schreier here has wrote an article about it. He's pretty reliable. I have complete confidence that he did his due diligence here and when breaking the story, and it appears that she was not offered just $4,000 to work on the game, but was actually offered $3,000 to $4,000 per session for the game, and at least 5 sessions. Which, if you do the math, that's a reasonable amount. It's like $20,000. Obviously, if it's 3, it's only $15,000. If it's 4, it's closer to 20. But still, $15,000 to $20,000 to do the game. That seems more realistic, in my opinion, as a payment. And honestly, if they offered her that, this is completely on her. To be honest, that's a very realistic payment for one game, which is fair. That's fair. He does go on to mention that Helena Taylor says that this version of the story is a complete lie, although he does back this with someone else corroborating the story. It sounds like that's more than likely what happened. But again, we don't really know, and this is what I've been saying since it first happened. We don't know. We're not going to know. We don't need to know. I think most people were pretty quick to jump on her side, and reasonably so, because all she's saying is, hey, a massive company was trying to underpay a person, and it's like, yeah, that's completely reasonable and understandable. Who wouldn't believe that? Who doesn't believe that a company's trying to be greedy and not spend any money on its employees? It's pretty much every company. So it was a reasonable story. This kind of says that she was probably lying, which is bad, but kind of not what I care about. I don't care about her to begin with, so that's whatever. If she was being offered $4,000, I stand by that being ridiculous. If she was being offered $15,000 to $20,000, I stand by that being a reasonable payment for the game that she would have been for Bayonetta 3 as a game. I feel like that's perfectly reasonable. I do think there was a bigger issue here to be discussed with voice actors just not being paid properly, and I stand by that. You wouldn't have seen as many people come to her defense that are in the field as did if there wasn't an issue with payment. We already know this. We've seen this with anime. We've seen this with games. We see this with cartoons. They aren't paid very well. It is an issue. Whether she specifically was lying is kind of irrelevant to the bigger issue of voice actors need to be paid better. That's really it. In this specific instance, it does sound like she was lying, and if that's the case, fuck her. That's like any other person who's lying to you, that they can go fuck themselves. I don't care about her. If she's lying, she's probably a shitty person. Fuck her. Doesn't matter. I still stand by that. It was a bad situation. If she was offered $4,000, that was an incredibly low offer, which is absolutely believable that a giant company like Platinum and Nintendo, to an extent, would offer her a petty amount like that. That's how businesses are. They will try to underpay you for everything they can to save as much money as possible. So it's perfectly realistic that was the offer. It is also realistic that she was lying, but with no proof on either side. I will always lean towards believing the individual over the company. In this case, though, it's not the company that's saying this. Jason Schreier makes it very clear that he did not talk to the actual company, none of the higher-ups, nothing like that. He only talked to inside sources who are remaining anonymous, because companies do not like when they talk to him, regardless of the light they painted in. This is directly from him. So in this case, it is Helena Taylor versus Jason Schreier and his track record of reporting, and he has a very good track record of his reporting. It's very, very rare that he puts anything out that ends up just being completely wrong. Not to say that he's perfect, no one is, but most of the time he is on top of the stuff he reports on. So I am willing to believe that this is probably what happened, because he doesn't usually put out false statements like that. This will probably be the final update, unless like Platinum themselves says anything, mostly because I just kind of stopped caring. And next up we have a new Yu-Gi-Oh card sort of revealed. This is going to be quick because we don't have the effect for it yet. It is Sacred Sheep Tree Baromet. It is an Earth Plant Xyz, rank 4, 19 attack, 20 defense. This effect is secret, so we still have no idea what this thing does. But it does mention that this is a new rank 4 Xyz plant monster with 2 effects related to normal trap cards to boost your hand and field presence. So this sounds like it'll be something that will mesh pretty well with the Trap Trick deck, although that is just a guess, we don't actually know. But also it could just be a solid generic rank 4 that helps you play some normal trap cards. They also note here, and this is why I wanted to cover it because I think it's funny, the name seems to be a pun on Baphomet, an occult deity usually represented as half human, half goat, and Baromet's a plant that grows sheep as its fruit, as depicted. So it's a little plant that grows little fruit sheep, which I love. I love the idea of a sheep that's a fruit, because that's adorable. But also it's a Baphomet, which is really cool. So I like that. Anyway, I think this is really adorable. I can't wait to see the effect, but I just thought it was cute, so I wanted to cover it. And lastly, I put this at the end because it's not the kind of thing I usually cover. I say usually, I've only done 25 other episodes. 25, yay! Anyway, it's not really news because nothing's actually happened. Nothing's even being reported to have happened, or this has nothing to do with DC themselves or Harley Quinn herself. This is really just random ass Twitter user made a post and it went viral. So it's not news. So that I'm putting it at the end because it's not really news, but I thought it was interesting anyway. And that is the currently trending "Make Harley Quinn a Trans Woman." I think it's pretty cool, actually. It's, like, I don't really care that much. Like, it's a fictional character, so do whatever you want. Like, who cares? But also, the whole Twitter thread for this was hilarious. Both people actually supporting it was pretty funny because, you know, they were making stretch leaps to show the support for it, like how it could be a thing, and like some of them are like, oh, I could see that, and it's dumb, but it's funny. And then you got the people who were just raging and molding about it, and like, it's fun to point and laugh at them, so that's cool. But as for the actual Twitter thread, the trending part of it itself, "Make Harley Quinn a Trans Woman," as someone who absolutely loves Harley Quinn, I don't care. Like, what's the problem? Like, if that's the headcanon you want to have, go for it. No one's stopping you. It's not hurting anything. It's not affecting anything. If that's what you want to believe, you go right ahead. These are fictional characters. They do not matter. If you think they actually matter, please go touch grass. They're fictional. They are fake. They do not mean anything. They are not real people. You can change them to fit any story you want, whenever you want, because that's the point of a fictional character. It's really not that difficult of a concept to understand. People seem to think that, like, oh, this is how the character's always been. It needs to stay the same. Why? Who cares? They're fake. They don't exist. It's not. You can't mess up a fake character. They're fake. You can change them however you want. Mostly within reason. At a certain point, you do hit a wall where you've changed so much. Is it the same character? Like, a good example of this is like, if you took Spider-Man and made him a billionaire, and he gave himself superpowers, and just called him Peter Parker and sent him out as Spider-Man, you could argue that that is no longer Spider-Man, because you're taking away most of the things that make Spider-Man Spider-Man. The fact that he got his powers by accident, he's kind of not happy with them all the time, the fact that he's poor, he's a teenager who has to deal with being, you know, poor and having powers, and he's trying to help people, and the relationship dramas. It's very much a slice of life, not slice of life, but it's very much down to earth and more life-based than I think people realize with Spider-Man comics. It's usually not these big, grandiose stories. It's usually very, like, small crime. That's the point of Spider-Man. He's the neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, it's the point. I think people forget that with the movies, but if you take all that away, then Spider-Man kind of isn't Spider-Man anymore. Sure, in the movies, he's always got, you know, a big villain he's up against, and, like, that's fine for a movie, but the basis is still there. He's still poor, a loser, gets powers that he is conflicted about, and that's kind of your baseline for Spider-Man. They all have it, and that's consistent, because that's an important character trait. If you decided to make Spider-Man a woman tomorrow, it doesn't really change anything, so who cares? If you're not affecting the character in any way, who cares? If you're mad about that, you're weird. I don't know what to tell you. You're weird. It's strange. The people getting mad in this thread are absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's just... The funniest one, at least for me, is the make a new character one, because you see that all the time. Why change the characters? Just make a new character. They make new characters. You complain about them. You complain about the new characters too. All the time. Every time there's a new character. And to be fair, every time there's a new character, period, you bitch about it. I've been to comic book shops. I used to buy them all the time. You just bitch about it. All the time. Every time there's a new character. Every time something changes, you bitch. You bitch constantly. It's kind of annoying. It's at a point where, like, do you like comics? Like, do you like these characters anymore? Do you actively read them, because like every time something's changed, you gotta complain about it. It's a little weird. Like, do you just want them to cycle the same storyline over and over again? Is that what you want? Like, it's like you don't want new things or different things because they're new and different and scary and rah. But so no, they can't just make new characters, but they do actually make new characters. And there is a relatively new trans character in DC Comics, Dreamer, and like, that's fine. Dreamer's fine. I don't know enough about her to actually have an opinion on her, but like, as a concept, sure, it's fine. I think it came from Supergirl, the TV show, and now it's in the comics. Cool, whatever. But like, okay, so what, that means no one else can be the trans character in DC Comics? Like, there's one. You get one, that's it. No more. Any more is too much. Like, does it really matter? I don't know. I think that's just my whole point here, is like, does it really matter? No. No, it doesn't. If DC decided tomorrow to make Harley Quinn trans in a new book, I'd probably read it. If they made it in a movie, I'd probably watch it. Honestly, I didn't think about this until recording, so I'm going to pause this recording and come back to this. Alright, now I had time to look up what I want to actually say. Get Jules from Euphoria, Hunter Schafer, to play a Harley Quinn. That'd be fucking great. That would be so cool. There you go. You want a trans Harley Quinn? That's your girl right there. That would be good. I could see that being an actual movie. That would be really cool. Or a TV show, or like a TV movie, or like something on HBO Max. Someone should actually write that. I at first, when I started this, I was like, I don't see the problem. Like, I was going through it because like it popped up on my Twitter when I was looking for stories for today, and I was like, what is this? Let's see. And at first I was just like, okay, why are all these people complaining? Like, this isn't like DC announced it or anything like that. Like, if DC announced it and you really didn't like it, fine, you have a right to bitch about it, like, whatever. But it's still stupid, but like, you have a right to bitch about it if you want to bitch. So that's fine. But all these people were bitching, and like, there was nothing really happening. Like, it was just some random person saying, hey, this is what I think should be a thing now. So I don't know why you're complaining, but anyway, back away from the complaining part, because I want to move on from that, because this is more interesting to me. So at first I was just thinking, okay, you sound stupid. I don't really care, but like, you sound stupid, so it's kind of a funny conversation. But after talking about it for like 10 minutes, you probably aren't going to get the whole 10 minutes, but after talking about it for like 10 minutes to myself, I had a genius idea, and it is get Hunter Schafer here to play Harley Quinn, because basically, if you take Jules and give her like emotional abuse from a boyfriend, you got Harley Quinn. I think that'd be good. The first time you see her, she like cuts her arm. It's great. This is perfect. I would watch the hell out of this. This seems cool. So now I went from being, I don't care, I just think it's funny that people are really upset about it, to I really want this because I think this is a genius idea, and that's all I got. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of the new DualSense Edge. Are you going to buy a $200 controller that has no upgrades? Or, conversely, you can talk about the trans Harley Quinn, because I think that's a fun conversation. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.